Hi there, everyone. If this is your first video, I'm Dr. Drew Ramsey. I'm a psychiatrist and an assistant clinical professor of psychiatry at Columbia University. And if this is another video, hey, welcome back. I want to talk about how you can figure out and how we figured out what the best foods for depression are, and to walk you through a little bit of nutritional psychiatry history. So if we go back just a little bit, it's like 2013, 2014, and I'm presenting with colleagues really for the first time about nutritional psychiatry at the American Psychiatric Association conference. And I meet a young psychiatrist, Laura LaChance, and we get into a conversation about really how do we know what are the best foods for mental health and what are the best foods for depression. There was a lot of data to sift through, but that's exactly what we did. We thought we'd start with this question of what nutrients really make a difference when it comes to mental health. We know a few, right? All of us who are thinking about nutrition and mental health, or if you've been thinking about your mental health, probably B12 has come up, long-chain omega-3 fats, vitamin B9, but we really wanted to know in the scientific literature, if you look at all of the literature, what are the nutrients that make the biggest difference for depression? And so we looked through all of the literature about essential vitamins and minerals, and we found that there were 12. And I'll show you which 12 in just a second. But this was a part of the antidepressant foods paper that we published in the World Journal of Psychiatry. And it was the first what's called nutrient profiling system. This is when you look at food based on a lens of certain nutrients, things that you want in food, and then certain things that you're hoping to avoid in food. So our question really was, what are the most nutrient-dense foods that we could prescribe to patients or advise clinicians to prescribe to patients that would potentially prevent and treat depression? And so these nutrients had data that they could do both. For example, if you have a population that doesn't eat a lot of zinc, the odds that people in that population are going to get depression is much greater. And if you add on zinc or some of these other nutrients to treatment for depression, people do a little better. So that's how we picked these nutrients, and there are 12 of them. So this was the equation that we ended up with for the antidepressant food scale. This is an open source paper, so you can take a peek yourself at our methods and some of the research. But you can see the nutrients that really stand out in the literature. These are the 12, right? And just to go through them, it's vitamin B1, which is thiamine, vitamin B6, peroxidine, vitamin B9 is folate. A lot of people know that from prenatal vitamins as folic acid, but it comes in lots of foods like asparagus and lentils. Vitamin B12, certainly a nutrient a lot of people know about as we've moved towards more plant-forward diets. It's one of these nutrients that you really only find in animal products or in supplements if you're a vegan or vegetarian. The long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids, which is a long way, what we looked at was DHA and EPA. Those are the two longest-chained essential omega-3 fatty acids. They start in algae, then they get bioconcentrated. Most of us get them mainly in seafood. Our vegan and vegetarian patients are going to get those in an algal supplement. But those are really interesting and important for brain health, and we've got lots of other information about those. Iron and zinc, really important minerals. Potassium, surprising to a lot of people. That's one of the reasons I'm always talking about white beans. Magnesium, which is kind of everybody's favorite mineral, right? Think about it as calming. We advise people to take it at night sometimes to help them sleep. Vitamin A, and a little caveat there, we couldn't fit phytonutrients into this. Dr. LaChance and I tried. We wanted to have phytonutrients and fiber in here because we think those are so important. Vitamin A is here, and you kind of wonder whether carotenoids, which we turn into vitamin A, might also be on this list. Vitamin C, which again is surprising to people. Also surprising to people is how little vitamin C you need a day. It's under 100 milligrams. And what was shocking to me as we did this research is how many people in some populations just don't even get enough vitamin C in their diet. And then selenium. Selenium is really essential to thyroid functioning. Now, we did something interesting here. A lot of nutritional profiling systems then want to throw in saturated fat and salts and sugar. And we said, we don't want to do that. We're only going to look at natural whole foods, and we're only going to look at calories. So this is a real true scale of nutrient density. Our hope was this would really answer the question for us. Based on the research that led us to these 12 nutrients, we were going to create a list of foods that have the most of these nutrients per calorie. And that's exactly what Dr. LaChance and I did. This was the list of the 40 foods we came up with. These are the top plant foods and the top animal foods that have the most nutrient density in terms of these 12 antidepressant nutrients. It's important to note that this doesn't mean everyone needs to start eating watercress and oysters all the time and then you're never going to get depression, or if you have depression, you'll get better. I hope no one thinks nutritional psychiatry works just like that. Our hope, though, and what we learned from this nutrient profiling system was to cluster foods into food categories. You see all the leafy greens and the top plant foods, and look at all the bivalves, the mussels, clams, and oysters in the top 5 of the animal foods. We also noted there were a lot of our favorite brain foods, whether it was blueberries or black beans, that weren't on the list. And that was okay. This is a place to start. And this was our effort to begin the conversation and continue the conversation. What foods are the best for our mental health? What foods should we suggest in mental health settings? And for all of us as eaters, what are the foods that we can think about incorporating into our diet, into our food plans, and feeding ourselves and our families that are going to be best for our brain health and help us feed our mental health? I hope this helps you understand a little bit about where these foods come from and why I think that, based on the most recent science, these are the top 40 foods for your brain health and your mental health. Now, there are a lot of other great foods for your brain health and your mental health, but I hope this list helps us all start the conversation. Thanks so much. Make sure to subscribe so you can get more of these videos. And if you're looking to use these foods, I try to incorporate all of them, or a lot of them. There aren't a lot of goat recipes, but a lot of these foods we incorporate into the recipes that are in all of my books and also in our course, Healing the Modern Brain. Thanks so much, and I hope this helps you feed your mental health.